Hey everybody, welcome back to the Market Minute. I got some cards to look at today. I think maybe it could be some prep for the keynote next week. I got a handful of Silver Age cards and then some prep either for, hopefully, for me personally, because I love Runeblades, prep for the keynote on Thursday coming in before Worlds, or just even prepping for 2026, because at some point, that Monarch trilogy is going to be concluded, and there's got to be a Runeblade in there. And I think these will be Runeblade staples. So let's jump into it. First card up here is one of those Silver Age cards. So this is the Cold Foil Dash Young Hero. This card was handed out in 2023. And it's not in the Collector Center, but there was an event where this was handed out at in the US, because I remember picking these up in one of my packages. If you remember which event that was, leave it down in the comments. I just can't remember what it was. Anyways, cold foil right now is at $9.69. You can see there on the graph, there are some of these being bought up. These just sat around forever because Dash was actually LL'd and Blitz. Really no use for this promo. But there are currently 12 on TCG Player right now. We got a low of $3.56, got a high of $6.95. So, we're sitting a little bit above that. But with only 12 on the market right now, this card could go up. This is currently the Dash Bling for Silver Age. There is no Marvel version of Dash or anything else, right? It's this young cold foil. So I think this card is important to take a look at, because if you're a Dash person or a mechanologist player, you want to play Dash, I think she's probably quite strong. She was very good in Commoner, so I expect she's pretty good in Silver Age as well. And she has a starter deck, so she's going to be getting some kind of support. Maybe a new spicy common weapon or token weapon in there, maybe another boost card or something to help her out or whatnot. I don't know if she needs another boost card, actually, now that I say that, but maybe she gets something in that starter deck, and then, Dash becomes a popular mainstay, right? Because those decks are supposed to be competitively viable right out the box. So keep an eye on this card. I think, if you want to play Dash, you might want to pick this up now for $9. All right, the next card here is on the horizon. We're taking a look at the Gym Pack promo. This came out in Gym Pack 2. And the non-foil is currently sitting at $1.99. This is the micro text box version from the Gym Pack. Blocks for 4. Blocking, especially for 4, is a little bit hard to do in Silver Age at the moment. Fate Foreseen and Sink Below are banned. Rootbound Carapace is banned. It's only far and few between, and especially this being generic, this can be played in a lot of decks. Inventory reflects the Silver Age hype. 9 non-foils, 8 rainbow foils. Those rainbow foils sitting up at $16.99 right now. The non-foils, you can see there, are low as 35 cents a piece. High as $1.94 was the high, and that sold. So we're sitting right there at the high with only 9 of them. I suspect this will go up for the fancy version here. Obviously, the common out of high seas is 10 cents. There's 1,000 of them on TCG Player. But if you want to get a little fancy in Silver Age, this card, you might want to take a look at it. All right, now we're getting into a little bit of prep for the Monarch conclusion. Maybe the next set, maybe not. Maybe being talked about in the keynote at Before Worlds, maybe not. First one up, Eloquent Eulogy. This came from Part the Mistveil, currently sitting at $9.98. Rainbow Foil, $11.24. Inventory, 30 non-foils, 21 rainbow foils. That was lower than I thought when I came up with a theme for prepping for Runeblade cards. That is quite low inventory on this guy. 3-month high low, $4.40 is the low, $10 is the high. You can see from the graph we've been moving up towards that $10 mark for a couple months now. This one's super interesting. All of Mistveils live in Legend. So opening a Mistveil pack to get this in an expansion slot, it just not happening. It's also Runegate, so that really means that it's locked towards Vincent and Classic Constructed. So I think reprints are a thing now. We're going to see a lot more of them, but I don't think this card is going to be high on that list, especially when it's locked to only Vincent. And that 30 non-foils might be a little bit low, might be a little fugazi. There might be some that flood back in if we get Runegate, anything in the Monarch set, either in this next keynote or the next one following. But I do think this is like a 3 must-have in a Runegate Shadow Runeblade, and it's a very strong card. And if Vincent gets support like Viserai did in Rosetta, and they want her gone, they want her to LL, this card will start selling like crazy because Vincent isn't going to be, she's going to burn very hot and very fast and LL very quickly. That hero is on once she gets humming. So keep an eye on this card. I think this one, basically, the next four cards are if you don't have them and you want to play Shadow Runeblade or Runeblade, pick these up now because nobody's looking at them. Runeblade isn't really hot in the meta, and it will be hot at some point. Runeblades go in and out of the meta probably every year and a half or so. Let's jump to the next one. Succumb to Temptation is the next one. This one's coming from Rosetta, a little bit newer of a card, currently sitting at $7.99. Rainbow foil, $9.98. 45 non-foils, 26 rainbow foils on TCG Player right now. Again, same story over the last couple months. This card's been moving upward. We see that with a low of $2.90, high of $11. So we're sitting below that high, but this card is a house. And it only says Runeblade on it. It's not tied to any talent. A lot of Runeblades take a look at this. Florian is literally the only Runeblade that doesn't look at this card and think of 3 of 2. So, when a new Runeblade comes out, this card is going to be looked at for sure. And I bet you it makes a lot of lists. It's just very good. It's just discard, right? Hand disruption. It's so good. And, when I see it at $7.99 with 45 on TCG Player, I'm like, you should have these in your collection if you want to play Runeblade right now. So grab these now, 3 of them, tuck them away, and then when a new Runeblade comes out, you'll be happy you did because I can see these doubling in price easily up towards $20 because we're getting further away from Rosetta. And again, not a super high target on reprint. Again, anything can be reprinted. But yeah, I just don't see this one, especially with how new the card is. There's a decent amount of stock out there as well. All right, Machinations of Dominion coming in at $9.95. Again from Rosetta. Talk about another House of a Runeblade card. Blue block 3 gives your next Runeblade card go again and overpower if you create an aura. Most Runeblades create auras, so this text is always turned on. There's a 3 of them been set right now. Again, Florian needs those blue earth, so not really there, but this card will always be considered in Runeblades for sure. Inventory sitting at 80 on these for the non-foil, 25 for the rainbow foil. 3-month high low, a lot like Succumb. $3.65 is the low. High is $12.09. Yeah, same story here. You're going to want to be playing 3 of these. I think in a lot of Runeblade, it takes a pretty unique situation not to be playing these. Yeah, just grab these now for under $10. This card, I think at the heyday of Viserai was closer to 20, just to give you an idea. And then if you do Bling, $12 is a great deal on these as well. And the last card here, Arknight Shard. So I really don't talk about Fables too much because they're like fringe cards a lot of the time. I think we've seen a couple decks throughout the history of Fab that have for sure locked them in. It's in the 60 every time. Icelander with Heart, Gravy with Eye. But the Arknight Shard here, again, this one's a little bit special coming from Crucible. It is a Viserai specialization, so it's tied directly to Viserai. Currently, the rainbow foil is sitting at 187. There's 16 rainbow foils on TCG Player. I took a look back at the other Fableds of the time, Heart and Eye. There's 18 hearts on TCG Player. There's 6 eyes. Eyes getting that inventory pulled down because of Gravy at the moment, but the inventory is about right alongside of Heart. Now, if they announce another Viserai, this card will be playable in Viserai. It's actually quite strong. It creates a rune chant when you pitch it. And low right now is 165. High is 193. That's pretty good for a Fabled. I don't really see Fableds being reprinted. Maybe we start to see non-foil Fableds come out at different times. I don't know on that one, but I think at 187, if you really were a Viserai main before, and he didn't play this card too often actually, and you don't have one of these in rainbow foil, 187 that's pretty affordable for the rarity of the card at this point. I think this is a pretty good deal. I guess what I'll say is that you'll want it at 187 now rather than if Viserai gets announced in a set in 2026. So if this is a card that you've been eyeing on and you're just like, oh, I'll get that later, I'll have to wait till it comes down in price. I think this is about as far as it comes down. 165, that's a really good deal, but 187 is not bad either. So keep an eye on that. I don't know if a new Viserai would even play this card, but if he does, it will skyrocket. And if there's no reprint, right, with a non-foil reprint, who knows on that front. But again, I don't talk about Fables too much, but I thought this one was interesting, especially when I saw it at 187. I was like, man, that's quite low for this card and just how rare it is, right? 16 rainbow foils on TCG Player. All right, guys, that's going to do it for this week. Next week, we're off at World Championships in Philly. So if you see me out there, come up, say hi. I'd love to meet you, chat with you a bit. We'll check you next time. Peace.